Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round 5 of the DTM Trophy 2022. We're at Spa-Francorchamps and it's time for race 1. And as you can see, it is a very slick race circuit indeed. We just had a downpour for about 3 minutes and now, I wouldn't say it's glorious sunshine by any stretch of the imagination, but it is going to dry up as this race goes on. My favorite type of race, wet to dry. There's Daniel Gregor, who does start on the front row of the grid. His recent form is probably, bar Tim Heinemann, the #1 as we see the discotheque rolling here. Everyone on the grid having a little dance. Well, maybe not on the grid, but I certainly am. Having a little boogie. But as you can see there, there's still decisions to be made because we've still got a couple of minutes before we do the formation lap. And there are people maybe starting to think, do you know what? It might be a case that we go onto the dry tyres, but I'm not sure they will. Daniel Gregor there, thumbs up. Very, very happy with his form recently. Again, a very poor start to the season for the team and the drivers, unfortunately, for Kuss Team Bernard. Lots of issues out of drivers and the engineers' hands. But wow, they have come back with a bang. Last 4 races, they have had themselves 3 podiums. That's the last 2 races. So yeah, last time out, 3 podiums between the 2 drivers. Qualifying not going quite so well for Ricky Capo. Starts down in P7, but showed that he probably had the pace to be mixing with the front 2 at the very least. So interesting to see if he can come through the pack. But the qualifying belonged to one man, the young man, the 17-year-old Theo Overhaus, who is pole position, scoring his first points for qualifying this season, and it's 3. Not the best qualifier. He's self-proclaimed as well. He's fully aware about the qualifying. He mentions it to me all the time. His team have little jokes with him about it as well. But I tell you what, he is absolutely stuck it on pole position today, and we know how good he is when it comes to race time. So starting from the front, very good race car driver. That is a concoction that is hard to beat. Nick Hanke, best qualifying performance of the season. He loves these mixed conditions. As you can see, he will always be giving a smile as well. Even receiving direction there. We've got Eduard Halpern for BWT Muka Motorsport on the second row of the grid. I asked him just before the DTM race today, what weather do you want? Because it was bone dry. And he says, I need some rain today. Felt really good yesterday, but in the dry I was struggling. So he has got his wish. Tiago Vivacqua, the Brazilian. Bit of a rainmaster, showcased his skills at the Norris Ring. He wasn't that worried about what weather we had today. I think this favours him. Expect to see a charge from the Brazilian up the order. He tends to find the grip when no one else can. Very accomplished driver indeed. And the camera pans over to the championship leader, Tim Heinemann, the most winningest driver of all time in the DTM Trophy with 11 wins, 3 seconds and 4 third positions. That is a lot of podiums, 18 podiums. He won the inaugural season in 2020. He took part in a few races last season and looked strong, but this season he is back to his very best. Leads the championship by 39 points coming into today. Here's Ricky Capo, then P2 in the last time out. You're only as good as your last race, and well, P2 was the last race. So on form, definitely got some speed. Qualifying didn't go perfectly, but anything can happen with these conditions in the race. Getting some last minute air into the car, because I can tell you one thing, it may be wet and it may look miserable, but it is still very warm indeed. Jacob Riegel in free practice 2 managed to get top of the timesheets, looked really quick. Qualifying wasn't perfect for him, but we know what he is capable of in terms of race time. 2 Speed Monkeys cars in that top 8. And again, they are very well known for their speed. So there it is. Tim Heinemann leads Colin Karastani. They've swapped positions twice now this season in terms of leading, but now it's a 39-point advantage. Karastani has to get ahead of Heinemann. He starts 3 positions behind him. Overhaus here. Big opportunity. A race victory here could throw him into a championship hunt with 5 races left to go. Vivacqua, same boat. Big performance here today. Could chuck him in that hunt for the championship here. Halpern will definitely need a win or a second or a third, I think, here today to try and push towards that. Then you have Henkefent in P6. You look at Daniel Gregor, only 11th in the championship, probably the form driver outside of Heinemann in the championship as well. Just goes to show how bad the first half of the season really went. Very unfortunate indeed. Here's Colin Karastani, then leader of the championship by 1 point going into the Nürburgring. Still very happy-go-lucky, bubbly and around the paddock, but you can see he is absolutely focused. He knows what he's got to produce here today. And he is certainly good enough. Surprise of the season for me is Papadopoulos. He is, I'm not surprised, the most improved, I would say, in terms of raw pace at the start of the season to now. Really is starting to mix it with the points paying positions pretty much every single qualifying session, every single race now. Very much comfortable with the car, changed a few settings as well. So he feels good. De Fulgencio, the Spaniard. He's going to be good in these conditions. Every Spaniard is. Thumbs up there as well. But this is his wheelhouse. There's a lot of drivers out of position here that will be very, very quick indeed. Almeida. The YouTube chat love Almeida. Massive fan base does Almeida have in the BWT Muka Motorsport car. And I'm sure that they're all watching right now on YouTube. And I'm looking at the YouTube chat, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to say hello, let me know where you're watching from around the world. Spam those flags in the chat as we see Project One's Lewis Henkefend starting in 13th position. So he's got a track map there in front. Just in case he gets lost, it is a long circuit. It's just over 7 kilometers long. Mikhail Patamba. Can't imagine a worse start to a race weekend. Unfortunately, didn't quite make it for free practice 1. Wasn't even at the circuit. Free practice 2. Went through Radion, went through Eau Rouge, and that was it. Had to park the car up, had an engine issue. So had no laps here at all. Never driven this car around here either. So yeah, a disappointing weekend so far. Hoffman in the number 48. Starting down in P15. She only puts her gloves on once the 3-minute board comes up. That's a fun fact. Fun fact there. She will not put those gloves on until there's a 3-minute board going up on the grid. It's just about ready to rock and roll here. The grid does indeed empty. And then it is indeed race time. 3 minutes to go. And this could be potentially the most interesting race we have ever seen in the DTM Trophy. We've had some classics in our time, but this one, with the track conditions, I think we're going to see a dry line very soon in this race, because it is warm. It is warm, and actually, it's already starting to show signs of dry on the circuit, and they're all on wet tyres. So this is going to be super interesting, and drivers that really look after the tyres will indeed be favourable to get results. So who are we seeing here? Someone called BMW supporting Spain. Susan Hoyt supporting the United States of America. Sully's from Jamaica. Who have we got here? Colio there. With the Mozambique flag. We've got the Hungarian flags there by Alexander. Greek flags as well. All from around the world. If you're watching on television right now around the world as well, you can also get yourselves involved. You can send me a message on Twitter or indeed Instagram at ActroVision. Let me know who you are indeed supporting. But there's Tim Heinemann, then championship leader. Needs to weather the storm, pardon the pun. A P6, I think, would be a good result here, considering championship rivals are, well, Caroline Carasani's behind him. If he can just finish ahead of Colin here, it would be a very good day in the office. But are we going to have new adversaries announce themselves in this championship hunt? Can Theo Uverhaus go out there and win this race and maybe push towards Heinemann? Remember, 0 points scored last time out for Uverhaus. He was doing double duty. He's the youngest ever DTM driver because of that weekend, but unfortunately it was just a little bit too much in terms of the trophy. 0 points in both rounds, but still has a genuine chance of getting himself in and amongst it. Massive day for the 17-year-old. Huge day for the team. And can he keep Daniel Gregor at bay? Gregor, one of the more aggressive drivers on the grid as well. If there's an opportunity, he's absolutely going to send it here as well. See now some British flags. We see some Italian flags as well, some more Spanish flags. We love to see it. So just a few more people then to indeed make their way off of the grid. And then it will be a full formation lap. Then it's 30 minutes of racing plus 1 lap as the rain now has started to fall here. It is drizzling in Spa. You can see with the cameras that there's a lot of rain a little bit higher up in the sky as well. So that means that through Les Combes, down towards Bruxelles, Nonane, there'll be a lot more water there than there is on the start-finish straight. It looks miserable. I can tell you now there's not a lot of water falling, but it changes on a dime here in the Ardennes Forest. So we're just waiting now for the go-ahead, and there we go. We're good to go. Full formation lap here. Very important lap here. Try and get some heat into those tyres. and try and get yourself a really good race finish here on the Saturday. Take the pressure off for the Sunday. Colin Karasani, big day. I've been saying it all weekend. A big weekend for Karasani. Has to get a big performance this weekend if he wants to challenge Tim Heinemann for this championship. Can Uverhaus shoehorn his way into the championship here? Can Daniel Gregor continue that very impressive form? And will Vivacqua find the parts of the track where there's no Vivacqua planing and get a good result? It's a formation lap time here. As you can see, there's spray all over the show. Whoever gets through turn one, whoever gets up towards Les Combes in P1 has a huge advantage. As you can see, there's not much spray there on the Camel Straight. Not much spray at all. Those trees are indeed covering the initial part of the Camel Straight. And as they run then up towards Les Combes, that's where the water will indeed be, and it'll run all the way down the hill. Right behind the safety car we come. That's the closest I've ever seen these drivers get behind the safety car. There's no messing around here. I guess, of course, they are race drivers, and they're trying to do this as fast as possible. The simple fact is to try and get heat into those tyres. Gregor right up behind Uverhaus. And that's, of course, going to increase the nerves in the young driver at the front. Both very young drivers at the front. The two youngest on the grid, actually, as your front row. Future superstars, of course. Both German as well. Probably going to end up seeing them in the DTM in the future. But right now, it's all about DTM Trophy. Here is your official start grid then. Teo Uverhaus and Daniel Gregor are on the front row. Nick Hanke, Eduard Kauhalper are indeed third and fourth. We've then got Thiago Vivacqua and championship leader Tim Heinemann in fifth and sixth. Ricky Capo and Jacob Riegel are in seventh and eighth. And we've got Colin Karasani and Alexandre Papadopoulos as your top 10. Mark De Fulgencio and Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida are indeed 11th and 12th position. Lewis Henkefend and Mikhail Patamba make up your 7th row. Hoffman and Lona are indeed in 15th and 16th. And then Jordan Wallace and Sterian Folev are your last two drivers. The rain is absolutely coming down here then. It was a drizzle, but now it's proper rain. This is going to be a wet race from start to finish, no doubt about it. Who will adapt to these conditions the best? Because we've had wet conditions pretty much the whole weekend, but not like this for the trophy drivers. It's been mixed, to say the very least. It's been a mixed conditions. We've not had full wet really for them yet. This is a challenge in itself. But we know Uverhaus is good in these conditions. We know Heinemann's good in these conditions. We know Vivacqua has pace in these conditions. What can Gregor produce here? Capo, one of the more experienced drivers on the grid in terms of age. Jordan Wallace as well. Can those two come through the pack using that experience? There's a track distance then. Just over 7 kilometers long. Yes, I'm not going for a jog round there. It's too far. Qualifying lap, a 2:46.377. You see the air temperature there and the track temperature. That will change, of course, and cool down now the rain has hit. And there is a very, very slight breeze here. It was a lot windier this morning. So here we go then. Heading around that bus stop chicane, you can see the water is absolutely piling it down here. It's almost a river there off the racing circuit. And as we round then the final corner, they haven't gone 2x2 here as of yet, so it looks like we are going to be doing another lap then under the safety car. So safety car start. So we just have to simmer down a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. So safety car start here. And then we can get excited. So yeah, another formation lap then behind the safety car. So we've got at least one more lap to wait here. This is officially the race time, though. We are in race time. So this will count towards the laps that they will indeed do. But you can see the visibility here is almost non-existent. It's changed so fast here. Hugely fast. And obviously safety is paramount. Yeah, you can almost see nothing. It's almost like the Nürburgring once again. But it's from the spray being kicked up by the cars. Rain starting to maybe halt just ever so slightly. Heading up then towards Les Combes. And Uverhaus takes them through behind that safety car. Uverhaus currently P3 in the championship on 79 points. If he was to go out and win this race, then he would move himself up onto 104 points. Assuming Heinemann scores points, he wouldn't be closing the championship crazily, but he will be closing the championship at the very least. But as you can see, the sun is starting to poke through the clouds. You just telling the shots there. It is now turning to drizzle here at Spa. And quite honestly, if you've never been to Spa before, which I had never been, we've all heard the stories about the weather, and it can just change at any point. I was a bit, I'm from the UK, so I was a bit like, no, I'm not sure it's that, that true. I'm from the UK, it rains all the time there. Yeah, it's actually something I've never experienced. This place is very different in terms of weather. Sometimes you can see maybe 6 or 7 different types of weather in the sky at one time. So yeah, it's a very unique place, very special place as well. We are nearly ready. I'm wondering whether the safety car might indeed pull in this time round. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, we are starting behind the safety car here. So you've not missed anything. So make sure you've got some drinks and snacks, because once this gets going to be an absolute cracker. It is a German 1-2-3 at the front end here as well, with Uwe Haus, Daniel Gregor, and Nick Hanke as your front three. Heading then on towards the very fast final sector, run down towards Blanchimont, and then in towards that final chicane. 27 minutes remaining on the clock. And the best sign for me is that I am watching spectators opposite me on the track now take their umbrellas down. So that says to me that the weather is indeed improving here. Safety car officially is coming in this lap. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. Race 9 of the 2022 DTM Trophy season is about to get underway. Uwe Haus versus Daniel Gregor versus Nick Hanke versus Cal Halpern. Uwe Haus there just trying to get some heat into the tyres. Gregor following his every move as we head in towards that bus stop chicane. Power about to be laid down here. And we are green light racing here, ladies and gentlemen. Theo Uwe Haus then takes them away up towards turn number 1. Daniel Gregor then tries to sit into the slipstream as we run into the braking zone here. Uwe Haus is going to run wide. Is he going to hold on to this car? Gregor has the inside line. Nick Hanke has gapped Vivacqua already here, and Cal Halpern. Vivacqua's got the inside line through the right-hand kink up towards Radion and Eau Rouge. Does he get ahead, though, of the BWT Muka Motorsport? Daniel Gregor has the lead of this race, and they will not go through their side-by-side. Over the top, then, of indeed Eau Rouge. Through Radion they go, and everybody gets through relatively safely here. Vivacqua already making up positions here. Look at Tim Heinemann. Tim Heinemann right in behind the Frenchman here, looking to get himself up into a top 5, and everybody gets through relatively safely, and everybody is very, very close indeed. Visibility at a premium as they come along the Camel Straight. Nick Hanke, by the way, closing up to the back of Theo Uwe Haus. Gregor, though, has got himself up into the lead of this race. Vivacqua under a severe amount of pressure here from Tim Heinemann. Heinemann has to back out then. Cal Halpern trying to take full advantage. Capo not close enough to get involved in it as well. But it's still then the German of Daniel Gregor in the Porsche looking to get a race victory here. Runs a little bit wide through Bruxelles. So does Uwe Haus. Cuts it back in. Cuts the nose off then of Nick Hanke. Hanke not able to really get to in and amongst it here for the lead. So much spray being kicked up. The rain has stopped, but the water will not subside until they've done a fair few laps here. Heinemann putting so much pressure here onto the back of Vivacqua. Vivacqua holding firm as they come down in towards Pouhon. And this is really the perfect concoction for that Toyota. I'm not sure he felt like he had the pace in the car in dry conditions as Uwe Haus runs wide there. Look at Tim Heinemann on the inside on the exit of Pouhon. Not quite able to get things done. The lights are flashing. Not sure even Vivacqua's going to see that, but Vivacqua runs wide onto the curbing on the exit there. And well, that could have been all she wrote. That could have been a trip through the gravel. Just about keeps it on the circuit, but that was nearly very dangerous indeed, and almost as dangerous as Heinemann travelling through the pack. The leaders of this race do not want to see a Tim Heinemann behind them. That is for sure. He is super, super fast, super, super talented, and of course a DTM Trophy champion, the most winningest racing driver in the championship's history. We saw Vivacqua there just step the rear of the car out as well through the middle sector. Ricky Capo next then to try and take full advantage, and everybody here just trying to find their grip around this circuit. It's the first flying lap they've done in full wet conditions, and I'll tell you what, everybody's done a relatively good job here because everybody's facing the right way. It looks like Daniel Gregor ran a little bit wide there out of the exit of 17 down towards the chicane, and Teo Uverhaus has, well, made the most of that. He's caught up a little bit, but Gregor negotiates that chicane very nicely indeed. Hanke still hanging on to the front two, but look at Heinemann. Heinemann absolutely flying here, and well, at this pace will absolutely catch up. Across the line then for the end of lap number 1, or lap number 3, but lap number 1 of green light racing, and it is Daniel Gregor that does indeed hold the lead. Uverhaus is in second as the sun does come out onto this circuit. That's going to bring its own troubles as well because of the glare on the circuit, especially at Radion and Eau Rouge. Moritz Lohner has moved up to P15, by the way. He's had a very good start to this race. Again, qualified well out of position, and we'll look to try and make some advancements as soon as possible. Heinemann with a terrible exit then out of La Source. Under pressure here from that Audi of Thiago Vivacqua. Over the top of Eau Rouge they will go, cutting the top of the curb there as much as you dare. And well, it becomes a 3-horse race then, or a 3-car race for what would be P4, and the front 3 are kind of getting away. Hanke maybe being dropped ever so slightly, but I'm telling you, this track might dry up. So if you can look after your tyres at this stage of the race, a dry line does start to form. Again, it's quite unlikely, but you never know. There's a massive opportunity here to make up positions later in the race. Karasani, by the way, up to P8 as well, doing really well. Fulgencio and Henkefen having a battle. Henkefen has moved up ahead of the Spaniard of Fulgencio. As we head then down in towards Bruxelles, are we going to see Tim Heinemann close that gap here? There are cars in that mist. I can guarantee you there are cars in that mist somewhere. You're trying to figure out which one it is. It's very difficult indeed. Teo Uverhaus, by the way, has just done the fastest first sector. So he's now really starting to find that form, and he took a timid approach on lap number 1. Was that the best idea? Could well be. Could be managing this race perfectly, could Uverhaus. As Heinemann now has no pressure really from Vivacqua in behind, so that means that he can really go and push forward. He does have extra ballast in the car, remember, due to winning the race, the last race in the season. So we do now have a look at the start of this race. And yeah, Uverhaus just gets on the power nicely, but he just overshoots the braking zone, very similarly to what Vivacqua did in race number 1 at the Nürburgring. So he gets a great jump here. Gregor reads it really well. You've got to give credit where credit's due. He reads it superbly well, gets into the slipstream, and then just goes out nice and wide, opens up the first corner a little bit better than an Uverhaus, and then Uverhaus is forced to run onto that curbing. Yeah, there we go. So he got a load of wheel spin on the left-hand side of his car, and that was it. Daniel Gregor was like, well, thank you very much. Off I go into the lead of this race. And Uverhaus, again, very young driver. Well, I was just about to say he pulled out there, so they didn't go side by side through Radion and Eau Rouge, but Gregor, understanding the length of his car absolutely perfectly, just jumps across the front of the BMW and says thank you very much. Here's a lovely shot here of the Porsche and BMW coming over the top of Eau Rouge. It's a great bit of work there indeed. So here is the leaders. It is indeed Daniel Gregor that leads the way, braking massively in towards turn number 1. Uverhaus is going to run wide, but he's going to indeed get a really nice exit, I think. Running down in towards Radion and indeed Eau Rouge. Uverhaus then with that fastest first sector indeed gets the fastest lap of the race. Look at this. Vivacqua gets an incredible lunge then on the exit, or incredible run then on the exit from La Source. We go into the mist then down towards Radion, and he's already got the job done here. And Heinemann, can he lean on all of that experience? Of course, he's got a championship to win. Vivacqua, it's very unlikely he's going to be fighting for this championship as things stand. And Heinemann is not going to be fighting with that too much, that's for sure. But all 3 of these drivers are actually starting to catch up with the lead group here. As we head then up towards Les Combes. Is Heinemann trying to defend? He's trying to defend from Capo here. Capo currently in P6. They're also trying to find some sort of visibility as well, aren't they? By moving over to the left or right of the circuit, just to pick your braking point. Front 3 separated by very little here. Nick Hanke, by the way, starting to really find some form as well. And as this race develops, the track state is going to change every single lap. So it's really who can adapt to the situation the best here. A bit of a mistake there from Vivacqua, but luckily it's a double apex corner, so as long as you get the second part right, you're not really likely to lose a position. Tim Heinemann not able to take full advantage. As we run through No Name now downhill, the Audi should just about be able to pull away. So here we go. here's the move then. So you just see Heinemann runs a little bit wide. Again, gets just onto that white line. Can't get that power down. And then Vivacqua said, thank you very much. That is an absolute freebie. Gets it done before the apex for Radion. And job is a good one. Although he's run wide again. It's the second time during this race for Vivacqua. Last time it looked like he almost let Heinemann go through. He's not going to let him go through this time. He's all out of shape then through the next part of the middle sector. Into the gravel he goes. Capo almost follows him. Heinemann says, thank you very much. I will absolutely have that P4. And a P4 is not a bad result here for Heinemann. Championship leader by 39 points. He's ahead of Karasani, who's currently in P8. This is not a terrible result for him. So here's what happens then. So yeah, you can see this is already after the mistake then from Vivacqua. He runs into the gravel, and then, unfortunately, trying to get the car stopped for the next corner is very difficult indeed. So as we run then down towards Blanchimont, Tim Heinemann with a lovely little run through there, sliding the car through as well. The tyres are indeed going to mould as we see, wow, potential contact there. Uverhaus has gone for the move, I think. Was there a touch? Daniel Gregor now P2, Uverhaus is in P1. So this is not ideal in the slightest for Daniel Gregor, and I think Uverhaus is letting him go by. He is. So there you go. If you're wondering who was at fault for that, we don't need to see it because Uverhaus has already let it go. The real winner in this situation is Nick Hanke. So Hanke in P3 needs them to keep fighting here. So does the second group of 3 as well. So as we head then to the bottom of Radion once again, Daniel Gregor does have the lead. Can the BMW get a nice run over the top of Eau Rouge? Using all of the curb there, this is as close as they've been. Along the Camel Straight they will go. And Uverhaus just doesn't seem to have that straight line speed. The Porsche really has got something special in terms of straight line speed this weekend. Uverhaus not really able to keep with him. And then behind you see Nick Hanke. Nick Hanke is absolutely begging. He's pleading that these two keep fighting. A massive opportunity for him to maybe push up towards the lead. But if they keep fighting like this, it soon could become 4, maybe 5, maybe 6. So Uverhaus round the outside, tries to get the overtake done. Is there any contact? Oh, yeah, Gregor did not really leave much room there for Uverhaus, if we're completely honest in that situation. Bit of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, that's for sure. Yeah, Gregor runs over the apex. I'm not sure where Uverhaus is expected to go there. He gave back the position anyway. And well, now they'll have to fight once again. So this is the return of position, down towards turn number 1. And as you can see, Uverhaus is off to then try and attack him once again. So we are just about at the halfway point of this race, 16 minutes left to go. And the front 3 is separated by about 0.8 of a second. Hanke again just dropping off ever so slightly, but is he looking after the tyres for later on in this race? Grip at an absolute minimum at this stage of the race. Tyres are really going to be hurting as well. Can Uverhaus potentially make a move? Can he get close enough to make that move? A bit further back then, Vivacqua's got a bit of a gap to Heinemann for the first time. Could he go and chase down these 3 with 15 minutes to go? Ricky Capo is right behind Heinemann as well, so there's only 1/10 of a second between those two. Then you've got Halpern, who's about 5 seconds back, and then Karasani is right behind Halpern as well. And really, Karasani has to try and catch up to Heinemann, has to try and get himself up in the battle with Heinemann at the very least here, as we run then down towards Blanchimont. Once again, Uverhaus running very far wide. You've got to use the curb there if you want to maximise your speed, but it's just such high risk, high reward. Trying to find as much grip into the braking zone as you possibly can. Gregor using all the curb he possibly can. Uverhaus trying to open up the corner a little bit better here as well, trying to get a better run on the exit. So yeah, Gregor's trying to pin the entry. Uverhaus trying to nail the exit. Nick Hanke closing in once again. Vivacqua with the tiniest of gaps to work with here, but he's not under pressure. Ricky Capo then right behind Tim Heinemann battling for that 5th position. Then you've got Halpern and Karasani separated by about 1.5 seconds are the two of them. As we come then through turn number 1. And this is where Heinemann's been struggling. He's not been able to get that power down. And Capo is very close indeed. Is he going to be able to make a move before Radion, before Eau Rouge? And sometimes you can be a little bit too close here. Is he going to try and make this too wide? Down towards Radion they go. And it is going to be too wide. Heinemann's going to squeeze him here. And as they come through the right hand or up the top of Eau Rouge, oh, take a bow, lads. That's a delicious move there from Ricky Capo. Heinemann does eventually have to back out. But that was so brave there from both of them. I thought one was going to pull out, but absolutely not. Incredible stuff here then from Ricky Capo. He moves up then to a top 5. How much pace does he have? Can he go and chase down Vivacqua? Can Vivacqua potentially catch that top 3? And there's Heinemann. Again, Heinemann's not really in a position to fight these battles. Capo closes his nose off. Yeah, that's a guy battling for a championship there in Tim Heinemann. Gets himself out of the situation. Knows that a points finish is better than the DNF right now. He's ahead of his main championship rival, being Colin Carasani, and Capo took full advantage of that. So there's a contact between cars 25 and 34, has been noted, so that was the battle for the lead, of course, Gregor and Uverhaus. But I tell you what, that was a very, very nice move indeed. You see that Uverhaus running, well, wide. It's almost in Zolder there. That was a hell of a run wide through the middle sector. See, Gregor's now got a nice bit of a gap to work with here. And can anyone stop him? He's got such form right now, the young German. Not a great start to the season for the Kuss Team Bernard driver. At Imola, binned it in free practice 1. His weekend was over. Since then, he's just found something. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise. 2 podiums last week, or 2 weeks ago, should I say. A P2, a P3. And right now, after a hellacious battle here, from second on the grid, leads with 12 minutes and a half to go. And, well, as it stands, is actually extending that lead as well. Vivacqua maybe starting to close in on Hanka as well. But as we run then down in towards that final chicane, windscreen wipers still going, although there is absolutely no rain falling down here. It's been as sunny as it's been the whole entire race. You can see the glare off the circuit here as well. Uverhaus just trying to, I think, hold on at this point for P2. Hanka might need to be careful here with that Audi starting to close up. Ricky Capo is almost onto the back here of Vivacqua. And I did say, if there's a driver out there that really does look after these tyres during this race, there's opportunities later on. There are absolutely going to be opportunities later on here. I'm not sure 8.9 seconds can be caught by Capo to the leaders, plus the overtakes he's got to make. But I think there might be the potential for a P4, maybe even a podium, if he saved the tyres for the end. You can see Regal there trying to hold firm against Henkefend. Henkefend currently in P10, comfortably in the points as it stands. Fulgencio, Almeida, Papadopoulos then, Pitamba, Lona as your top 15. And we've got Folev, Hoffman, and Wallace is in 18th position. I had a little chat with Wallace earlier on, and he's just sort of found a bit of a struggle with the car recently. I'm sure he'll get that figured out. Far too talented not to, that's for sure. And Regal under some pressure here from Henkefend. Henkefend maybe looking to size up a move then up towards Lace-Con. Is he close enough here? How brave do you want to be on the brakes? And Lewis? Yeah, not quite close enough to take advantage. Regal's just going to hold that apex there. We'll be slow through here, but ultimately will not lose that position. Can Henkefend swing one round the outside to size better of it? Maybe there's a potential lunge here down in towards Bruxelles. Ooh, a bit of a slide there from the rear of Jacob Regal. Didn't seem to lose too much time. Goes in very, very strongly on the entry to this corner. It's going to be slow on the exit for sure. Henkefend has got to be looking for a move sooner rather than later. You can see the track then is very much drying at this part of the circuit as well. Not quite a dry line forming by any stretch of the imagination, but it is absolutely starting to become a little less wet. And as soon as we get to a position where any of the track starts to dry, that's where the tyres are going to really, really struggle. The run then through the middle sector, exit of Pouon, running a little bit wide there is Regal. Got a black and white flag then to car number 21, that's Papadopoulos, exceeding track limits. So one more time, and it'll be a time penalty. But there's your race leader, Daniel Gregor. Got into the lead, has had a fight with Uverhaus throughout this race, but ultimately, in the latter stages, has looked very unbeatable today. This is a very impressive display from Daniel Gregor. How close is Capo now behind Vivacqua? Because, of course, in the same car. We've got a lovely cool shot here then of Gregor running through the final chicane, using so much curb there as well. Just seems so in control of his destiny. Seems cool, calm and collected. Really good weekend, and actually so much faster on that lap. Just did the fastest lap of the race actually on the last lap. Did a 48.3. Uwe just did a 49.1. And there's only one other driver in the 49s, and that's a 49.8 there, and that is Ricky Capo. So Capo is absolutely flying towards Vivacqua as Henkeven looks for a lunge here on Jacob Riegel. He's going to be slow on the exit here. Not sure there's going to be any room here for Riegel on the exit. No, the room was left. Aston Martin power being laid down by the Speed Monkeys driver. It's a drag race then. Down the hill we come, through the kink, down towards Radion. Who's going to give up the ghost through here? Henkefen's not going to lift, is he? Riegel does indeed give it up. Henkefen with a brilliant lunge there. Completely sent Riegel offline. Riegel was thinking about other things other than holding position. And it's just a really, really nice move there. Textbook stuff from Lewis Henkefen. And he moves then up into P9. Next up is Fulgencio trying to come through here as well. So can the Spaniard potentially get up into the points ahead of Riegel? And then they've got him behind him, Almeida. So Almeida will be looking to get involved. And we know that Almeida likes to go a lot faster as the race goes on. Tends to be a lot quicker at the end of races. Very good at looking after those tyres. Daniel Gregor with the fastest lap of the race. And there's a spin. Why do I open my mouth? As soon as I say something, he's off the circuit, unfortunately. Patamba's going to go through here. So is Papadopoulos and so is Moritz Lohner. Gravel all over the show then. And as soon as I open my mouth, there's a mistake. Unbelievable. Spray still there on the circuit. And there we go, just too much curb. Lays that power down a little bit too early. And that was all she wrote, unfortunately. Seeing in the chat there, it's very raining. No, it's not raining anymore. It's sunny, believe it or not. This is just standard Spa weather. That's just how it is. Again, welcome to everybody watching around the world on television or on YouTube. Hopefully you're enjoying the races here so far. So Daniel Gregor was 2.4 seconds ahead of Uwe, but now the gap's down to under 2 seconds. So maybe Uwe has been saving something a little bit here. As soon as Capo got behind Vivacqua's kind of speeded up a little bit here and actually gained about 0.6 of a second on Capo on the previous lap. So Thiago looking very, very good in P4. I'm not sure he's going to be able to push up to the top 3. Hanka, this is a well overdue podium for Hanka. This is a good day for him so far. Can he pick up one more spot? I'm not sure. He's quite close enough here. It will take a big mistake, I think. But Gregor is being caught here for sure. I think Uwe maybe has something a little bit extra for the final few laps of this race. 6.5 minutes to go as we cross the line this time round. The clouds are starting to form just over turn number 1. As we see here, this is interesting because that's Colin Carasani. So Carasani is going to sweep one round the outside here of the bus stop chicane, and then he block passes through. That's a great bit of driving there from the Dutchman, and he knows at a minimum he has to finish ahead of the car in front of him, which is Tim Heinemann. He has to get up ahead of Tim Heinemann to try and keep his championship hopes alive. But he has made his way up the order by 3 spots. He's doing a very good job so far, but can he go and close in on Tim Heinemann? Heinemann's tyres are going to be very much a bit of a mess at this point because he's got the extra weight in the car as well. Remember that. That's why it's a bit more difficult to get that power down on the exit of La Source. So are we going to see Carasani make that move, keep his championship alive? The gap now at the front end is 2.2 seconds. So yeah, Gregor has responded really well through the first sector of this lap. Well, we see the move here then. So Carasani very late under braking. You see that white line. So in dry conditions, you're braking just after that. But in wet conditions, of course, you're braking quite a long way before it. Takes the off line, runs it around the outside, and then just brilliantly sweeps the car across Cal Halp's bonnet. And it's job done. And I'll tell you what, it takes 2 to tango there. Cal Halper could have left him no room whatsoever on the entry towards the bus stop, but he did. Brilliant stuff. And now maybe he could be dragged along towards Heinemann. Heinemann will be hoping, really, that these two just battle for position. Diamond apex there from Carasani, trying to get a better exit through the sweeping left-hander. And Heinemann seems like he might be a bit of a sitting duck. Moritz Lohner and Alexandre Papadopoulos then down in towards Les Combes. A different chicane, same outcome for a BMW by the looks of things, around the outside. And well, no, it's not the same outcome at all. Outbrakes himself, unfortunately, runs out of road and goes on to the green stuff there. It's not quite grass, it's very slippery. And Papadopoulos, I would imagine, has kept hold of that position. Back on the battle then for P6. Carasani definitely closing in, taking a completely different line there to the AMG as well. But here is your leader. And it seems like the first sector, absolutely nailing it is Daniel Gregor, but the second sector, Uwe seems a little bit faster, maybe even the third sector as well. It's about 0.2 of a second difference, actually, between Gregor and Uverhaus. Uverhaus being the faster through sector number 2. But then sector number 3, Gregor sorts it all out once again. When they next cross the line, I think you'll find they will have 3 laps remaining. I think it's going to be about 3 laps remaining when they next cross the line. So, of course, they've got to get... When the timer gets to 0, and then they cross the line, they have 1 more lap. So I think you'll find that we will indeed have 3 more as they cross the line here. Vivacqua still under pressure here from Capo. Both of these drivers have made up some positions. Vivacqua's made up 1, Capo's made up 2. So very, very tough conditions to get the very best out of your car. Gregor now 3 seconds in the lead. He's found something extra here for sure. Carasani then right up behind his championship rival. And Heinemann has given up positions this race. I think he realises how important it is just to finish in the points. Not sure he's going to give up this one that lightly. He knows that if he finishes ahead of Carasani, he just extends his championship, albeit only by 1 point, but it'll be on to 40 points. But Carasani gets ahead here, then there's every chance that it goes to 38 points instead of 39. So it's not a big difference, but every point counts by the end of the season. That is a fact. The long run then on the camel straight down in towards Les Combes. Colin Carasani's managed to get it done into the bus stop chicane. Will he be able to get it done in towards Les Combes? Heinemann very late under braking here. Carasani's got his bonnet alongside the rear of that Toyota. Still not able to get it done here, then trying to get a better run as we come through the right-hander down the hill towards Bruxelles. Cal Halpern thinking, do you know what? I fancy a couple of positions here as well. If you two make a mess of this, I am absolutely going to come through. Tim Heinemann doing everything in his power just to hold on to this position. 2.5 laps to go for him. And he is finding it very, very tough. I think the massive positive to take from this race is that he's not going to be in the podiums. There's going to be no ballast in the car in terms of success ballast heading in towards tomorrow. So Heinemann will be looking a little bit stronger tomorrow for sure, depending on the weather as well. Running through Pouon. Oh, Heinemann completely sliding that rear out. Almost loses the car. Carasani follows him off the track entirely. Cal Halpern may be looking to find himself an opportunity at the inside. Carasani leaves that door open and closes it as soon as it's open. Heinemann running a little bit wide here once again. Carasani, through this next double right-hander, needs to get a good exit. Get a good run down towards Blanchimont. And then maybe... Oh, yeah, Tim on the brakes so much earlier there than the BMW. But yeah, get that run down in towards Blanchimont and then try and make something work around the outside in towards the final chicane as he's done previously in this race. Still a long way to go. They're about to come across the line to have 2 more laps remaining. So 2 more laps remaining for the leaders. 3 seconds is the advantage then for Daniel Gregor in a Porsche. Uverhaus in the BMW then is in second. But look at this. This is the battle for the championship effectively. 39 points is the difference. If Carasani can get past it, we'll go to 38. As they come up towards the final chicane, Heinemann's going to be, well, I tell you what, he's going to be running very, very deep here, I can assure you that. Look how tight he went to the entry, runs out wide. Carasani then's got to look for an option of getting on this power as early as possible. He's nearly run into the back there of the Toyota. It's an incredible exit here, running down towards turn number 1. And actually, it's the last lap of the race, so there's only 1 more to go. And by the time they get down in towards the source, Carasani does have a nose in front. Tim Heinemann, though, is going to run completely across there and make it almost impossible for Carasani to hold on to that position. Carasani's going sideways then all the way down the hill towards Radion, loses the position into Cal Halpern. Cal Halpern is going to go all the way around the outside here of Heinemann. He needed some shenanigans. He's got the shenanigans, and can the BWT Muka Motorsport driver get the job done? He cannot. Heinemann holds on, but he's going to be slow over the top of Eau Rouge here for sure. And I tell you what, he might be looking at losing 2 spots here. Cal Halpern dragging Carasani along. Carasani trying to get tow from both of them. And I tell you what, he almost went 3 wide there. There's no gap for Carasani to work with. Cal Halpern is going to get up ahead. He's going to get straight across then on Tim Heinemann. How late can you break here, Carasani? This could be a 2-point swing in the championship. Carasani's going to run off the circuit. Yes, he is. He does run off the circuit here. Heinemann might get a bit of a freebie. Cal Halpern's going to retake the position. And he does. So, yeah, Heinemann's got the inside line and down in towards Bruxelles. Fantastic racing from all 3 of them. Contact now between the championship protagonists. Will Heinemann be able to go very late under braking here and hold on to the position? still not sorted himself out. Both sliding the rear out. Karasani just about got his nose ahead. Down in towards No Name. Brilliant driving from all three. But I tell you what, Halpern, he's just gone, thank you very much, lads. I'll absolutely pick up an extra couple of points today. And well, delivered the goods as well. Still half a lap to go. 3.4 seconds then, the difference between P1 and indeed P2. Hanke, about 5 seconds back from P2, but in a comfortable podium spot. Although I say that, Vivacqua is only 1.5 seconds behind. And then you've got Capo in P5. So here we go. This is the initial opportunity to make an overtake here. So it was a mistake then from Heinemann. And then look at Karasani. Tokyo drift season just keeps going sideways, sideways, sideways. And then Halpern just senses that and thinks, yeah, thank you very much. I've got the power down here. Very, very nice throttle application there from the AMG driver. And then just gets a job done as we come up towards Radin Eau Rouge. And then has to back out. So he had his nose in front. The job was done. And then he's like, you know what? I've got to back out of this situation. Heinemann aggressively holds on. Then by the end of the Camel Straight, both the AMG and indeed the BMW are ahead. Squeezed off his Karasani. Then Karasani tries to hold on. As we come down towards Blanchimont, it's still side by side between these two. There's absolutely no give between the two of them as well. Halpern said, thank you very much. I will have those points. Almost running off circuit out of both of them. Will Heinemann send one more last dive here? Daniel Gregor, well, it's not the last lap. We've still got 2 to go, so there is 2 laps to go here. It is not over. We're getting so many different graphics on screen, and Tim Heinemann gets a nudge then to Karasani. It's the first time we see contact between the two of them. And you've got to think about your championship here. You've got to try and go and close down to Halpern. You've got the lights being flashed then by Henkefend. Of course, Karasani's teammate as well as Henkefend, so he's got to try and help his team out here, although Karasani runs completely wide. Big mistake there from Karasani. Runs deep, means he's very slow on the exit of the chicane. And then Tim, well, just says, all right, mate, I'm here. Just gives him a little slap there. Can Henkefend get involved in this? This would be brilliant for Karasani if Henkefend could get ahead of Tim Heinemann. Over the top of Eau Rouge we will go. So now this is the last lap of the race, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the last lap of the race, I promise you we are. Until they change that, and it might not be. Who knows? Across the Camel Straight we will go. Gregor, by the way, fastest lap of the race as well. So he will get himself an extra point for that. So that'll be 26 points from this race. Vivacqua looking for the podium. He's looking for another podium this season. Look how close it is. Nick Hanke could be devastating news for him if he loses this position. Vivacqua going to have to go all the way around the outside. I'll tell you what, he's got the overlap here, is he not? Oh, down towards No Name, not quite. As Nick Hanke loves to slide the car sideways, but he's got to fight for his life here. He's got to fight tooth and nail. Does he want to get that Speed Monkeys car on the podium, burn those tyres out, use every inch of the road? Because Vivacqua, if there's an opportunity, is absolutely going to send it through. Pouhon they come. And what a race this has been, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you've all enjoyed it. This has been absolutely superb from all of our drivers here today. And I'll tell you what, everybody's going to finish here as well, which is a massive positive as well. Through the middle sector then, it's very difficult to make an overtake through here, but you can set yourself up. Oh, I say difficult to make an overtake. Oh, Thiago Vivacqua is absolutely having none of that. Brilliant move from him. Hanke squeezes in, parts of car flying off the circuit, and Hanke's just got to keep his cool here because Vivacqua's going to be slow through these double right-handers for sure. Yeah, a very adverse line there, forced by Hanke. And can he get the job done then? Down towards Blanchimont for the very final time. As we run into the gravel then for Vivacqua, he is going to be slow. And I tell you what, Hanke is not quite close enough here. Gregor still leads this race, 4.7 seconds. He's through Blanchimont. He's merely got 2 corners to go. And wow, Imola, it was an absolute disaster. Since then, he's turned a corner. He's turned many corners today in this race. And the young man from Germany, Daniel Gregor, it is going to be 3 podiums in a row, but this time it's a top step. It's Daniel Gregor that takes that checkered flag in the DTM Trophy. He's a DTM Trophy winner. Teo Overhaus from pole position will take second, and this is the battle for third. Hanke gets onto the green stuff. That is not ideal, and Vivacqua steals one there at the end. He gets onto the podium. Hanke's in 4th. Capo finishes in 5th position. We've then got in the background, Halpern has been given an absolute freebie, and Henkefend has helped his teammate then. So Karasani is up to P7, And Henkefen has put himself between Karasani and Heinemann. Heinemann's in P9. And then we've got, rounding out your points finish, P10. Still some overtaking happening here. Alexandre Papadopoulos at the death. No points on the line, but it doesn't matter. He's going to hold on to that top 14. Lona will be P15. And then we've got Folev down in 16th position. I think Hoffman is battling with Folev just in the background there. So there you go. Folev is coming up towards that final corner. And then you've got Wallace and Hoffman, who are both battling for P17. Battles all over the circuit as, well, Cal Halpern has just dropped down here. So Cal Halpern and Karasani have dropped down. Henkefen's dropped down here as well. I'm not sure what is happening in terms of that. I've not been told there's any penalties at all here. So, again, not too sure what's happened there. There's no penalties that flashed up on my screen. So let's take it as the result was. But look at this, by the way. I didn't think there was a chance at all here that there was an overtake on. He found himself an overlap. Gets side by side, leaves the room on the exit here. There was a little bit of argy-bargy. He has no right to find that kind of grip there. That's brilliant from both of them, actually. Again, there is a bit of touching there, but that is sensational stuff from both concerned. There was a part of the rear of the car running off the car. There we go. It's a nice little souvenir there for one of the marshals. But take a bow, lads. That's incredible. But the day belongs to Daniel Gregor. Superb from start to finish. Has looked quick now for maybe, well, since the summer break. The summer break has done him the absolute world of good. And as you can see then, it is bright where the camera is, but in the distance, there's lots of clouds. Daniel Gregor is your race winner. Uverhaus second, Vivak was in third, Hanke fourth, Capo then in fifth position. Cal Halpern is in sixth then, Karasani seventh. How important is Henkefen getting between Karasani and Heinemann when it comes to the end of the season? We will find out. Heinemann then is in ninth position, and Fulgencio takes that final point. Regal and Pitamba, Almeida, Papadopoulos, Lona, Folev, Hoffman and Wallace all finish the race. All 18 cars get to the end as we see a bird of prey on top of the fence. So there you have it then. We saw Daniel Gregor in a cheeky little slow-mo there as your race winner. And that, for my money, is 5 different winners this season. I said at the start of the season I could see 6 or 7. I'm 1 or 2 away from actually getting something right, believe it or not. Unbelievable. But yeah, what an incredible race that was. It really does set up the final few rounds beautifully well. We've still got one more race to go here at Spa this weekend, which is going to be very enjoyable indeed, depending on the weather. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow, but then again, it was supposed to be raining all day today and it hasn't. So who actually knows what the possibilities are in terms of the weather? But yes, Daniel Gregor did pick up the victory here today. Teo Uverhaus, it was pole position, and it was indeed P2. So yeah, maybe pushing himself towards the lead of the championship. But Karasani did not have a good qualifying session today, and he managed to get ahead of Heinemann, and also his teammate did a great team job by also getting ahead of Heinemann, which means he's closed the championship lead. Again, it's not very much, it's only by 2, but it's a close at the end of the day, which is really what he needed to do. So yeah, interesting race, very, very fun race to watch. The fact that everyone's finishing, they're still battling for position through 17th and 18th spot just shows how good everybody is. We're going to be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So if you missed the action, if you just joined us, we get to do this all again once again. So it'll be qualifying tomorrow morning, which again is already on the DTM YouTube, or you can check your TV listings at home. If you are indeed going to watch it on YouTube, you can also subscribe to the channel. So DTM on YouTube. Make sure you follow all of the social media as well. And then we have the race at exactly the same time tomorrow as it was today. So there we go. Vivakwa, you can see how sweaty he is. Incredible move that was.
fastest lap in the race, and the second last lap, so it can't be that bad.
I mean, the track was getting dry, so every time I stopped it.
Yeah, just wanted to indeed let you hear race engineer and race driver talking there, get a little bit of an insight. But he pushed, and he pushed. P5 up to P3, a very well-deserving podium. And there you go, you can see all of the young lads waiting. We'll see you tomorrow, guys, for the second race of the weekend.